So last time we had created this page and we had inserted a page break so that we could divide it into two pages. Now let's say you made some mistakes and you want to change that, maybe in the text or even in the quizzes or the image. So let's say up here, this was just this is simple text. So you want to change this, or let's say you want to change this to heading 1 or even heading 3. You can do that. You can see, so let's leave it at 2. And let's say here presents with heel pain and cramping. And let's say I'm just going to say heel pain of a stabbing nature. So you can see you can add that. So this is fairly simple, like any other word processor. And let's say we have this quiz and you want to change, you think, maybe something was wrong with the quiz and you want to change it. So what you do is you right click on it. So you right click and you'll see you get this either remove or modify quiz popper. So you want to modify. You can say examination you will carry out maximum of 10 items. Let's say you want to change it to 8 items and you want to then even decrease the points maybe to 8. So that's how you can do that. So that's how you'll change that. And here was again text patient's history included anorexia and other things. And this was again similar. You can modify the quiz popper. So here was, you realize that the answer you chose was not the correct one. So here you can go back and change and see that this is it and click OK. And here, let's say this X-ray, this was not the one you wanted. So what you do is, again, you do modify image and you go here. So what you can do is just select another image. So you go back here and we'll go up here to, let's say I want another image up here, and then I just choose any image and say that's the one I want. And you can see I want to decrease the size because I find that that's too large. So I just change the image and you can see that image is changed. So that's okay. And let's say you've got too much space here. So just put your cursor there and hit delete and you will see it goes up. And let's say you want to modify this table. Now you want to increase this. You want to have maybe a couple more columns. So you click here and you go to table and modify table. And here what you will do is, let's see. So you wanted to, add columns. So you can go here, you click into that row. So you want to insert a row above or append the row to the bottom or delete a row. So let's say I want to append a row to the bottom. So you can see that. And let's say I want to insert a column here. So again, I go to table and column and to the left or to the end. So you can see I can insert a column here and say here I'm going to say that this is the total leukocytic count. And now because your width of the table was you can actually move this like this, so you can see this. And usually tables behave a little differently, so it's a good idea to kind of know how many columns you're going to have in the beginning itself. And if you find that it's kind of not looking the way it should, just delete it and start again. But here, let's see, because our table width was less, so we could even modify table. So you can see the width. So I'm going to increase the width to say 100%. And maybe I want to align it in the center. I could do that, or even increase it only to say about 90% and do that. And you can see then, so now it's it looks a little bit better. So you can see that's how you're going to do that. So this is how you would make the corrections. Now, one of the things you'll notice, I don't have this as bulleted. Now, if I want to have these as bulleted items, so I would then click here. So you can see the lists cannot be made into headings. So here what you'll have to do, you can't have a heading there. So you have to do it as plain text. and then I can do that. And here I can, so here you can see that it's kind of changed it. Each one is a separate list on its own. And if you know HTML, what you can do is actually go into Tools and HTML Source and then change it. But since that's a bit, not everybody knows that, what you might want to do is right from the beginning, you start this as an HTML page, because again, you will notice if you do that, everything becomes one, so you'll have to do it, probably enter the numbers yourself. So let's say that, so we don't want to do that. So we kind of will delete this and I'll show you. So it's better to start from the beginning, unless you know HTML, in which case you can actually correct it within the HTML. So what you would do is you would go to Tools and HTML Source, and this is where you would correct it. So let's say, let me show you how you would create a list. So up here, this is what we are going to do. So we'll start with this. And now if I'm doing the same thing, I'm saying case study. And then so here I delete this, and the case study, and hit Shift Enter, because if you hit Enter, what will happen is it'll become the next bulleted item. So you can say patient presents with some problem with breathlessness and cyanosis. What is your initial diagnosis? And here now again, hit Shift Enter, and you want to insert a box for them to write that. So you would do Insert and Quiz Popper, and here you would have a short answer, or it would be an essay depending on what you want them to write. So let's put essay, and this was the question was, your diagnosis, and the options, it was quiz me, or the points, however much, same thing, right? Okay, so you can see it comes here. You can hit Shift Enter again, and then it'll go down, and then after this, if you hit Enter, you'll see that you'll get the second bulleted item, and then you can do what you want. Now, one of the other things that you might want to show is, for example, if you look at this was one of the cases I had. So this was musculoskeletal disorder. So I had a lot of videos which I had the students watch, and then they had to answer questions on that. So here is like a case study and a lot more up here, but then it was a multiple choice here. I didn't have them because then this gets graded automatically. Multiple choice, you'll have to, if it's not multiple choice, you'll have to grade it. But let's say you had something like this. So you have matched the images with the choices and the questions that follow. So it's kind of a matching thing, which is this way. So for matching items, so if you go back here, for matching items, so I'll just say, match the images with the answers, with the correct answers. Now here you want to have, let's say you want a number of images, and say I'm going to just choose 2 or 4. So again, I just hit Shift Enter, and I want to insert a table. So I put table and create table. So I'm going to have 2 rows and 2 columns. And the width is 50%, and I'm going to show you what happens if you hit left, align it towards the left, and here let's say I'm going to insert an image. I'm just going to choose anything here, and okay, and I can make this image be in the center. You can see that image was, and here I'm going to choose another image. And I want to decrease the width a little bit, and so I'm going to keep it at here. And let's say here again, insert image. Now this is a very, very large image, so I'm going to make this 350. Okay, and here I insert another image. And then I want to call this A and make that bold. And maybe we even want to make it 18. I want to call this B. I ideally should have done this before. 18 and bold. And C, bold, and 18, and D, bold, and 18. And what I might want to do is make all of them in the center, so I can see, put all of them in the center, make this all, but it didn't move to the center. But anyway, so here we have these. And now you want to have your quiz. So again, you'll do Shift Enter, Shift Enter. Okay, so you'll notice if I hit, I'm hitting Enter, and I have to kind of keep going down a little bit like this. And here now, I will insert my quiz. So insert quiz popper, and I'm going to do a matching. So here it tells you enter 2 or more items, and these are the item areas, and this is the matches. So I'll do A, next one is B, next one is C, next one is D. So you have to enter the matches in the correct order in the matches area. So the first one, let's say I'm going to call abdominal quadrants, and B was abstract, C was the aorta, and D was acromegaly. And feedback, good job, whatever, the same thing. Hint, options, again, we might want to make this 4 points so that you can give them retry, partial credit. So we'll say give them partial credit and say okay. And you can see here. So I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to preview it. So here you can see this is the first page which we saw, the 8 items. These were all the quizzes. We changed X-ray, patient's blood count. I added that. And then we go to the next page. So here, patient presents with breathlessness and cyanosis. What is your initial diagnosis? And here is your diagnosis. So, you write the diagnosis. In this case, let me just say, I'm just going to say pulmonary embolism. And you do have to, you'll have to grade it and then match the correct answer. So notice here, so what it does is, you'll have to see A and match the items over here. So it's automatically kind of randomized this. So A here was with, A went with abdominal quadrant. So that's B. So you can see this A went with the abdominal quadrant. This is a bit confusing sometimes. You see this A refers to these. And then B went with abstract, so that was D. B went with D. And C, I'm just going to do one wrong. So I'm going to do C went with C. So these 2 of them would be wrong. And D went with aorta, which was A. And check answer. So you can see I got only 2 right. I got only these 2 right, and I didn't get that. So you can see that it gave me points for this. So let's go back here. So you can see that how you can do this, and this is quite useful when you have a number of images and you want to kind of do them together. So one of the things that I've noticed with this is now, if you want to come down And after this, you hit enter. You'll notice it's now it's not the thing is not matching. It's not going to the next bullet, and that's because there's some problem here with the HTML code. So if you look here, the HTML code has kind of stopped here. You see this or this here. You have to remove that ordered list, and you'll have to do a bit of this, and you have to put this under that. So you have to remove the HTML code, and so it becomes a bit of a problem here. So I'm going to hit cancel. So then we can do, and you start the code again, you start this thing again. So you have to be a little bit careful when you get into this kind of thing. So one of the things you might want to do is learn a bit of HTML, or don't hit enter and have it placed right below that. So those are some things that you have to keep in mind.